All right, I think we're live. We made it.
Yay! Woo!
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone to the Gathering Movement. I'm here today with Annette, and we are going to be diving into reclaiming your inner goddess, which I'm very excited to get into. So thank you, Annette, for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yay. So for anyone new to this little passion project of mine, my name is Bridget Aileen Cisco, and the Gathering Movement is a collective of visionaries, thought leaders across all different industries who really have the same general intention, which is to empower us in some way, shape, or form to become the leader of our lives. So we've interviewed fitness people, we've interviewed finance people, we've interviewed Reiki doulas, all the things. And today we're here with a beautiful manifestation coach who is going to be talking all about reclaiming your inner goddess. So here we are. And if you are watching this live, let us know. I'll grab my phone so I can see who's here in just a moment. But Annette, how did you get into the work of reclaiming your inner goddess?
Oh, it's been a journey for sure. So, when I first started onto my spiritual journey, it started when I was in like 8th grade or something. I just like stumbled into a yoga class. And then all this work for me started after I graduated college, I became a yoga teacher. And then from there, I was like working full time at a wallpaper company, trying to figure things out. And I was like, but I want to teach yoga full time. And I asked the universe, like, let me teach yoga full time. And, till I really was able to manifest things in an easy way. And then 2 weeks later, I got fired. And I was like, oh, all right. Like that was an aggressive way to give me that manifestation, but cool. Like I'll take it. And then from there, it kind of spiraled me into, I was like, all right, like I'm never going back to working in an office because that didn't work. And it was only there for a year. So I was like, all right, I'm committing myself to go in a way that is different and that in a way that feels empowering for me. And then from there, I went to massage school. Like that kind of clicked, it kind of worked, but it wasn't exactly what I needed. And as I started having massage clients, yoga clients, I realized I'm just coaching them all the time. Like I would be stretching them or massaging them, and like they would ask me questions. The underlying thing wasn't this physical bodywork session. It was always about the energetics, the mindset, about what they're going through, what's happened. It was always something deeper. And I was like, wait, I remember I saw this life coaching thing like a couple years back. I was like, maybe I should do that. Like it was like it's always been this underlying current in me.
Yep.
And then now I'm like, wait, I'm gonna do this. And this was before coronavirus hit, that I was like, all right, I'm committing to making this work for me. And then it kind of happened at that time where coronavirus came, and then I was like, all right, well now's my time to really shift into this fully, because so it's kind of been my transition through. I've always been doing this, and now I've just kind of made it a solidified foundation for my business. So yeah.
That's beautiful. I think it's a good reminder for us all, because when we start these journeys of stepping into our power or just enjoying who we are, it doesn't always look like the end goal right away.
No, yeah.
Right? I always see it as like a river or these doorways. And it's like we open one door, we enter, we experience, and then there's typically like 5 other doorways behind it that are ultimately leading to us kind of putting the puzzle pieces together of the true purpose, the true impact that we are here to make. And it sounds like it was the same for you.
Yeah. And if I never, took that leap for myself and even went to massage school in that way, made that investment in myself in that way, then it's windy out in here. Then I would have never experienced, what it was like to work with clients in this way. I would have never experienced where I am now. People are like, oh, you're not going to massage anymore. You only did that for like 2 years. I'm like, we're good for now.
Yeah.
There's a season for everything. It could come back, it could not, but that's not the point. It's just, where are we going?
I totally agree. So for people who are new to the concept of like working with the goddess archetype or working with goddesses, what does that mean?
Yeah. So a lot of the work I do is infused in Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is a devotional style of yoga, and it's devotion to self, but also devotion to a higher power of whatever you want to call it, whatever you feel comfortable with. And in that, Bhakti Yoga has various gods and goddesses that we have the mantras for. And when we chant to these gods and goddesses, they can be depictions of things like a energy outside of us, but really it's calling upon the energy within us. So, it could just kind of solidify in one space. So we'll use the goddess of Lakshmi. She's the goddess of abundance and good luck and good fortune. She's my right hand lady. So, it kind of helps you kind of solidify that energy in like one entity, right? And it lets you hold the frequency of like, all right, what is it like to feel abundant? And it kind of gives you something to focus on instead of like the idea of abundance, like this like aloof idea. It gives you like a focal point, kind of a foundation to like, connect within yourself. So that's what I think is the biggest thing when we work with any type of archetype, is that it's just an energy within ourselves that we're empowering ourselves with.
Yeah, I like that. I haven't like formally worked with the goddess archetypes, but I understand the concept. And what I really enjoy about that is, yeah, sometimes we think abundance and we're like, well, that's kind of vague. First of all, what does abundance mean to us? Is it physical? Is it financial success? Maybe. Is it success in our relationships? Yes, right? All these different things. And I like the idea of working with one specific goddess archetype to kind of help us feel clear and direction oriented, right? That's kind of the intention.
Yeah, it's so you don't feel so scattered. And so, and there's tales and mythologies behind all of these goddesses that you can dive into, and those are beautiful, but it all depends, how you want to work with them and what feels right for you. And for me, these energies kind of channeled through me. Like I didn't really have a choice but to work with them. Like when it was kind of like when I became a yoga teacher, or even got drawn to yoga, I didn't really have a choice. I was in 8th grade at the gym and just stumbled into the room. No, I was pulled there. I didn't understand what was happening. And then when I was fired from my job, that's when, like out of college, that's when Lakshmi came to me, because I was just struggling. I was in like the worst year of my life because I was ready to step into my power. So I was shedding everything, all of the conditioning, all of the beliefs. And it was the hardest year of my life, but it led me to where I am now. But still, that like she channeled through me in meditation one day, and she was like, chant my mantras. And I was like, all right, let's go. So it was another one of those things that I never intentionally sought out. It's just something that is infused in me now.
I love that. When you work with people, or when you've had these experiences, is it similar to you? Like, am I drawn to one goddess archetype, or do you assign that? That's not the right word, but you know what I mean? How does someone find which goddess to start working with?
Yeah, so right now I have a program that I'm launching, the Inner Goddess Revival. And in that, we work with a certain archetype with whatever we're working on. So say that we're working on our inner child and reconditioning and reparenting ourselves, we'll work with the goddess of Durga, because she's protecting, motherly, has a divine feminine nature. Say we're working on trusting ourselves, devoting ourselves to our path and to our mission, we'll work with the god of Hanuman. So that in that aspect, I'll kind of, group it together. But I always say, there's always going to be one or two of the energies that really click with you and that really kind of work with you. And it's like everything has its season. So sometimes you'll work with different ones, but like how I said, Lakshmi is like my right hand lady. She, like, that energy really has connected with me for years now. So yeah, it's both.
That makes sense. And as soon as you had like Durga, I'm thinking of the chant, "Hey Ma Durga." I'm just like, okay, let's go. So do you incorporate the chants then in the work as well?
Yes. So that is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Chanting for me, again, during that time, like that cracked my heart open in a way that I was never able to experience it any other way. I was a yoga teacher at that time. I was meditating every single, I was doing all of the things that I should have been doing, but still something was not clicking. And I was like, what the hell, man? Like, I was like, I'm doing it. Like, I teach people this on a daily basis. Like, now what? And then that's when it was like, I remember I went on Insight Timer and it was like, here's this like 10-day Bhakti Yoga course or something. And I was like, all right, let me dive into it deeper. And like I had to chant really quietly because I lived with my parents at the time. And I was like, I don't want them to think I'm weird. And like, you know, I grew up in like a really Catholic home. So they're gonna be like, what is she doing? But, you know, chanting for me is a way of empowerment of your voice. You know, it's a way of connecting your inner self to your external self. It's like connecting your desires, and because our voice is how we communicate to the world, but no one else knows what's happening inside of us. So we can be living one way internally and living somewhere else externally. So when we merge together through chanting, and feel empowered in our voice and then empowered in our desires, then we're able to, I think, then live an empowered life. So yeah, chanting's infused through it all. And I have so many clients that have been like, I don't know if I like that. And then later they're like, wow, that was good. Like that chant hit me in a way, that mantra, like, you know, everything has their own little energetic frequency that clicks with you.
I love chanting, and the way I've always like felt it personally and even like energetically is like it literally strikes a chord within you, right? It strikes this part of like your heart and your soul that make you remember that there's something more to yourself, to this world. So I'm right there with you. And I'm curious, for anyone who is watching live, you know, are you connected to any specific goddess? Let us know in the comments, because I'd love to see, and we can kind of work off of those and see how Annette uses those goddesses specifically. So I love this. So reclaiming your inner goddess. Does this also mean that we have like are we the goddess inside also, more than just the archetype goddess? Does it also relate to that? In what way?
Yeah. So it's about, when I say reclaiming your inner goddess, that kind of is dropping even the goddess archetypes. That's just reclaiming your inner kind of wild and free nature. Really reclaiming your divine feminine in a way that, whatever that means for you, right? So like most of my life, I grew up in a very wounded masculine space, and I didn't really know that that's what it was. I always was just operating from this place that things weren't working and I was forcing everything, but I was such a go-getter. I would always make things happen, but I was always drained. You know, everyone's like, how do you do all this stuff and you make all this happen for you? And I'm like, I don't know, I just keep going. And like, and then I hit a point where I was like, well, I can't keep going like this because I'm going to have an anxiety attack like every other moment. Like I need to figure it out. And then, you know, infusing your inner divine feminine nature is about allowing that free, the play, the ease, the fluidity, the creativity. So if that means for you, you know, dancing, if that means like going running while it's like going out running in your backyard and it's raining, like it's about letting yourself unleash the parts that you've kind of hindered, or that like your whole life people have told you like, oh, don't do that, that's weird, like, or don't paint because like you don't really know how, or you know, it's about bringing joy into your life, and it's about unleashing that joy. That makes sense? I don't know where I just went. But.
Yeah, no, I follow. And I think everyone who's listening to this also follows. They understand that. And I think what you are allowing people to do is almost a permission slip. It doesn't have to be a forceful way of living your life. You can take action, but you can also step into this receptive energy that is of play, of joy, excuse me, of just having fun. I think that that's really important.
Yeah. And it's a, you know, and if you come from a space that maybe your family, like your mom, your grandmothers, they didn't live in that way. It's like you're breaking the cycle. You are like you're healing your lineage essentially. And that's like a whole nother thing in itself. And that is like, for me, like that feels really empowering. If I can be this like energy in this family that they're like, I don't know what the hell she's doing or like who she really is, but like she seems pretty happy. Like if that my nieces, if that helps, if I have children, if that helps the future, then awesome. And if it doesn't, then that's fine too. But
I always think it does. It's like the moment I think that we say yes for ourselves, I really believe that there's this like, it's almost like I'm envisioning this like we literally are on top of a mountain and we like just say yes to ourselves, and as soon as we like step our feet down, it's like this beautiful ripple of energy in generations past, in generations to come. Like that's what it feels like, right? And I think you feel that too.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because there's questioning that comes up, right, about it all, or like there is resistance that has come up for me, but I'm like, it's about staying just connected into your desires and why, really, why do you want to live in this way? And just keep going.
So we have a couple of comments here. Natalie, you made it. Natalie says she works with Yamaya. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, Annette. Natalie, you'll have to let us know more about that goddess in the comments. I think I've seen her as the mermaid goddess of the Caribbean. So let us know. Nino says, I call on Sarasvati when I need help expressing myself. We have Melissa saying, I feel so empowered when I embody Kali. Yeah, I totally feel that. I love that. And then Nino says, I feel inspired to do it more consistently. Yes, love that. So we have Sarasvati, Kali, Yamaya. Who are some of the other goddesses that you also like to connect with, Annette?
So a lot of the goddesses I work with are the Indian-based goddesses, just because I don't know. I also was an Indian woman in my past life, so maybe that is why I'm drawn to all this work now. So yeah, but I work with Kali, Durga, Lakshmi, Swarasati, but also I work with some of the gods like Ganesh, Hanuman. So infusing all of their elements, because that masculine energy is still important for our feminine energy to be balanced, because when we're all feminine, that's when we're free flowing. Our feet are like dancing off the floor, but like the floor is too far away. Masculine brings the floor to the feet and allows us to be a little bit more grounded.
Oh, I can feel that visual. Yeah, and I actually had this thought as I was coming into this conversation today. This is about reclaiming your inner goddess, but if there's any men listening right now or who plan to listen to this, is there a way for them to connect in with like their inner god?
Yeah, I mean, even for them, it's good for them to connect to their inner goddess, but not call it, right? So
Yeah.
connect into their own feminine energy, which is that emotional side, because that for men is, wounded for many of them. They're scared to be emotional. They're scared to, for whatever reasons of society, of their families, whatever. So it's about allowing their emotional, their creativity, that free nature in them to be unleashed as well. So it's, that balance. And then if you are in a very creative man, find your foundation. Maybe that's even in your partner. Like for me and my partner, that's how we work. He's an artist. He's very creative. And I'm his grounding. I've had more of that like masculine, like feminine, divine masculine energy. So it's can be done within yourself, but also can be done within the people in your lives who you bring it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. Natalie explained to us who Yamaya is, and she said she is the mother of all. She is a water goddess, usually pictured as a mermaid. She birthed the world and nurtures and heals all.
Beautiful. Love that.
So beautiful. That's so beautiful. So how would you say that your work really empowers others to be the leader of their lives?
Yeah. So everything is rooted in your personal truth and what that is for you. Our whole life are told to live life in other people's ways and standards. And then even when we start to learn how to manifest our things, we might be manifesting other people's truths and standards as we're moving through life. But it's about coming back into yourself and really rooting back into, but why am I doing it? Does this work for me? And it could be something just as small as how you eat, to how the foods that you buy, to like the job that you're doing. It could be so micro, then taken so macro as well. So it's always about rooting in your personal truth and finding, kind of getting to know your own frequency and staying in that frequency as you move along after we work together, or just move along in your life.
That's beautiful. I knew I was excited to talk to you because I was like, we both have the same like center core mission, right? Of like rooting into personal truth. So I'm so glad you could share that. Now, for anyone who is like looking to connect with their inner goddess more, what are some of the first steps that they can take?
Yeah, so something so simple. While you're brushing your teeth, circle your hips. Sway your hips a little, circle, give it a little, because how many times, as women, especially I've seen this in my yoga classes, well, I'll introduce like some free flow movement. That's kind of why I've broken away from teaching vinyasa so strictly, because some things still felt, we were so linear, we were so masculine, and I was like, bah, I want to jump off the mat though, like, so a lot of my students experienced that, like towards the end of my group class teaching, of me being like, nope, we're like running around the room, and they were like, okay. Like, so bringing in the movements of femininity, masculine energy is very straight and like structured. So bringing in that energy of flow of movement. So even just bringing that into your body is just the first thing you can start. And if you feel uncomfortable, that means like do it 10 times throughout the day. So yeah, just moving your body in those ways. And that can just mean circling your hips, circling your body. And then that helps you connect into that like sensual feminine essence. Another thing you can do is, for me, mantras have really helped, and the singing helps for me, because that's like that free flowing expression as well. Not worrying about if you sound good, that doesn't matter at all. My whole life I've been told I'm like a really bad singer. And then like when I chant, people are like, wow, your chanting is so beautiful. I'm like, really? Because I've been told I'm the worst singer. But it's like that I've never been a chanter in my life, right? So no one told me that I was bad at it. So I let myself be free in it, right? So it kind of gives you like another level of permission. So I think just allowing your body to move in a way that you're not used to is a big one to start with, though.
I love that. I love that. Can we start a chanting community? Like, I'm so down.
I would love to. That's kind of like my mission right now, is to bring that more and more in. I'm right now like learning how to play the harmonium, which is a big thing in kirtan, which is call and response chanting, for those that don't know what that is. But the energy of a kirtan experience is something that you'll never experience in your life. There is just that like ecstatic, like frequency.
It's bliss, yeah.
It's like electric. And then you leave and you're like, am I high on life?
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, you are.
Yes. I remember the first one I went to, I was like, what just happened? Like I felt so focused, in a way that you're not always even focused in a yoga class.
Yeah.
It was so much different, because like sound and vibration are literally the core of this universe, and like our sound is the strongest. So, like when we sing ourselves, I think that's literally us remembering that we are so much more than this physical incarnation. So I'm right there with you with the kirtan experience of being like, okay.
And I felt pretty weird during the first one. Again, also because I came from such a Catholic household, right? So I was like, is this okay? Like, I was like, I love this. Is this okay? And like, but because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, like, so it's about knowing again what's right and true for you. And that's the only way you can keep moving forward. So
I love that. Any other final words for our fellow goddesses who are listening to this conversation today?
I just want to say to not wait in your life to make a change, to not wait until you're, like, I'm referring to myself, crippled on the floor, full of anxiety, not able to like talk to people in public without having to run away. Like, allow yourself to listen to the nudges to change. And if you need support, ask for it. If, find whatever you need, but don't wait till you're broken to shift. That's really the biggest thing I have to say.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So beautiful. Well, we will have all of the ways that we can get into contact with you. So if anyone who's listening to this is like, I need Bhakti Yoga, I need goddess archetype work, we will make sure that we connect you all. Thank you so much, Annette.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks everyone for watching, and talk to you guys later. Bye.